What is up, guys? Welcome here, welcome back. We have so many BrickLink Designer Series 10 sets to go over in today's video. With over 600 sets, I have narrowed it down to the top 70 sets that are likely to become a real official LEGO set in the future. Now, these range from castle to pirates to western to even historical themes like ancient Rome, and even just your typical like modern day buildings. And at the end of the video, I have my top 5 sets that I believe will be the next official LEGO sets coming to BrickLink Designer Program Series 10. So without further ado, let's get into the video right now. We're going to be going through these in a randomized order. There's no rhyme or reason for why they are in the particular spot that they are in. I'm just going to read through all of them, and then at the end I'll show you my top 5. So starting off is Adventures in Egypt. Now this kind of has a lot of callbacks to the Johnny Thunder theme. You know that theme, like where the guy, he's like basically an Indiana Jones, a Lego Indiana Jones. I just really like this truck build. It really reminds me of like the Indiana Jones era, like late 40s, like just it. Obviously it's got fantasy elements as well, but you can see some mythical fantasy elements, obviously, like zombie type creatures, a couple play features and stuff like that. I just really like the Sphinx build. I like the palm tree, and the truck's pretty nice. So that is that. Next is the World Legends of Rexstone. Now this is a set that was previously in Series 9. The guy completely reworked it and put it into Series 10, and did very well, I think. And obviously it's based on the Kraken, so you have this big Kraken out front with its tentacles going up and around the castle, built on this big old rock work base here. You have a nice ship build. It looks like the serpents and the horse knights are arriving to the castle. You have a nice crane here to pick stuff up off of the ship probably, and a nice underground place to have little rituals or something, I'm pretty sure. And this is obviously the dock, which leads up into the castle itself. So it's a pretty cool set. Next is the Anchor Cove Imperial Shipyard. Now this looks like a set that's kind of like in the middle of building a ship or like doing repairs where it's like up out of the water. So it's pretty cool, pretty unique. We haven't seen something like that before in the Pirates theme, but I really like the design of this boat. And again, obviously we can't get fabric in these BrickLink sets, so they have to use brick-built sails to the best of their ability. But I think it does really good, like staying with that classic Pirates vibe with the whites and the tan, because all the pirate themes always use that like whitewashed stone look. I really like the look of that wagon there. And just the green makes it pop so much. Just nice color. You obviously have the red Imperial Armada flag, and then obviously the new cream coats. So it's pretty cool. I like it. You have some interiors, and you have the crane that can work up and down, and a couple side builds as well. So it's pretty cool. Next is the Ancient Temple. Now this is something that I would love for LEGO to just bring back as its own theme. One of my favorite sets is the Pyramid of Giza set. I think it just looks absolutely stunning. The color of it just looks nice on a wall. And if you want, you can get 2 and make it the actual pyramids. I'd love to get one of those one day. And I would love for LEGO to actually continue to do those types of things where maybe they're doing the 7 Wonders of the World, or doing Stonehenge, the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, and the Mayan temples. Like, I would love for them to start diving into like ancient historical themes, like Greece, ancient Egypt, ancient Jerusalem, and those types of things would be really cool. Obviously, you're kind of stepping around religion, and LEGO doesn't like to do that, but I mean, it's pretty cool. I love this. It's so cool, so unique, and it captures it very well. Obviously, he's using the griffins to get across the armor that a Roman soldier would have worn. Because again, you have to use items that are currently available on Pick-a-Brick. You can't use anything like custom or anything like that. So I think it looks pretty cool. This image right here just looks really cool. That would be really cool, like set up next to the Pyramid of Giza set, and just have the different, like, I don't know, like the different historical things, like ancient Japan, and have different historical setups for. I wish it was just its own theme, like historical, like botanicals is. Like, I don't know. I just wish it was its own thing. I think it's pretty cool. And we also have an ancient warship of the Roman era as well, which it's like, just like I said, it's like, I think this is so unique. It has such unique architecture to it. It's such a unique build. You're never going to see something like it in city and castle and anything else. I mean, you can literally do so much with like a historical theme. It would be so cool. I mean, you don't even have to really do minifigures. I preferred I get minifigures, but I think it would be really cool. And we've obviously gotten CMF figures with Romans and emperors and stuff like that, so they aren't against doing that, but it would be really cool to see stuff like this, like maybe an ancient Egypt reed boat or something, and have all through the ages like the different boats that have progressed and stuff like that. I don't know. I just find it very fascinating and cool. And it would be especially cool in a Lego set. Now, next is the Argynvlaw, the Orcs Village. Now, this person made this a couple different ways. You can either get it with just the hut, you can either get it with just like the tower and stuff. So there's a couple different ways that he has submitted this to try and get it passed, where it's not 4,000, where it's 2,000, where it's 1,000. So this is the full ultimate build with all the different features. And I think it does very well. It's something very unique. You would never see this like in any other Lego set. It's very unique with the architecture, the bones. It looks like something you would find out in the middle of nowhere in 7,000 BC or something. And he's using the orc head. As the orc head is the Frankenstein head from that Haunted Mansion set that came out a while back, which is kind of cool to utilize that. But just very unique build itself. And obviously it has like some fantasy elements to it in some way, it looks like, where this is like, I don't know, like some sort of portal, I'm guessing. I don't know. I'm sure if we read the description, we'd get all that info, but there's just too many to go through to read the descriptions of every single one of them. It'd be so long. Now, this is Attack on White Horse Outpost. This is a set that kind of reminds me of like a classic Lego set with you got the black trees, just a typical build, just a small little outpost, nice tower for put some minifigures in, and obviously it's made for the horse knights, so you got the white and blue all around it, and you got a little underground underneath over here and some vegetation growing up, a little hidden wolf over here. I think it's pretty cool. Nice build that would fit in perfectly like with someone who has a bunch of classic castle sets, so that would fit in pretty cool with that. Now, next is the Bandit Ambush. Now, this is a very unique set in the way that you have to display it. So on this side, you have the ambush getting prepared. Like you have a little tent, a fire pit, and a couple guys just eating and getting ready. And on this side, you have the caravan, the wagon that is going along the trail. And you can actually see how the tree is growing through the wall, which is so unique to see. Like, it's connected on both sides of the build. Both sides of the build are connected, but like in the way that it's through this tree, I think that's pretty cool with like the roots growing out here. And then on this side, you obviously have the foliage of the tree, but then the wagon can drive up down the trail. And over here at the end of the wall, you have the people that are raiding it. They can cut down this tree. It can fall. So it stops the wagon, and then they can raid the wagon with like that mechanic of the tree falling over, which is pretty cool. Like you can display it with like the tree toppled over and a bunch of guys with bows pointed at the driver. So that's kind of cool and unique. Like here's the overhead over it. So it's pretty cool set, pretty unique design, pretty cool idea to come up with. You can even stage guys up there even if you want it on the wall. But at least you have a tent and stuff like that. I think it's a pretty cool set, pretty unique design, new idea, and it's only 1,500 parts, which is pretty cool because that would probably ring it in right around $180. That would mean maybe $200, somewhere around there. Now, next is the Bandit Hideout. Now, this is like a recreation of the Bandit Hideout almost that was in 1998 from the Western theme. Now, it's like an abandoned gold mine, what I'm getting, but I love this fire pit down here where you got the big logs where you would like sit on them and just like camp out. My guess is they're like going to this old mine and like taking whatever's left. You can obviously see some nice interior down here. You got even a cannon and just nice interior upstairs with like beds and a bigger bed. So the outside is kind of like boarded up a little bit and obviously a little bit repaired. So that's pretty cool to see. Now, next is the castle construction site. Now, this is such a unique set, and it just gives me so many cool ideas to like use for my own displays or something. Because obviously it's inspired by Lion Knight's castle. You can tell by the way the walls are built, the way the towers are built, the way the arrow holes are built and the arches and stuff like that. It's almost like, I don't know, it just gives you such cool ideas for your own thing. Because it's like sometimes it gets like repetitive and old, getting gray castle, gray castle, gray castle, gray castle. Oh, medieval hut, medieval hut, medieval village, medieval village. It's nice to get something just refreshing and new and nuanced to the castle theme, where like, oh, I've never thought of doing that before, where like they're adding on to the castle and like have scaffolding, and they're logging trees and has like these trees with some green on them because they haven't taken all the leaves off and branches off yet, and they're mining stone and taking it to the castle, and like this like little holding area for the nice freshly cut lumber, and even the trees with like freshly cut wood. It's so nice to get something that's like cool and unique. I'm not saying that this would win, but obviously like they're building the statues here and stuff like that. You have the tools that they're using to build, and the ancient ways of like getting the stones to where they need to go. It's like, I know that this would probably never win because it's 3,200 pieces. That's a lot for just a gray wall. Like I just said, I don't like getting gray, 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 gray. What I like about this set though is the nuance of the lumber mill, the stone, the scaffolding for the wood, and like maybe like over here you can see how they're doing repairs where they just had a war and they're like repairing the wall. I don't know if there's a better picture of it, but down here like you can see where there's like a hole and they're like repairing the wall because they got invaded and stuff like that. It's kind of cool to have ideas for our own stuff, because it's like it kind of gets repetitive. Like, what's there to do now? What's there to add on? What's there to put cool next to the castle? Like maybe make an extension, like they're about to excavate and work on a new extension. And I just love this. I really like it. Now next is the castle faction shields. This was also previously in series 9. I really like this this build, honestly. It's really cool. I honestly wish that someone would just make these on their own and like sell them, to be honest with you. Because you can actually hang on the wall. You can see how they're not too big, not too small, but I think they would look so cool. Like on a wall would just look so colorful, and being built out of Lego, they're kind of like almost 3D-ish. You can see how like the logo itself is poking out and matches the depth of the border, which is pretty cool. I like it. Next is the city fountain. Now, when I came across this, I absolutely loved the way the water is built. Like this fits in perfectly with people who make modular buildings and like has a city road or city street or whatever. I think it would fit in very well. Like maybe just taking the fountain off and putting it somewhere in and around your city street or sidewalk or whatever. It looks awesome. I've never seen a fountain designed so well, with like the water coming off in the corners where it needs to go, a statue. Like forget all the outside stuff. You got like little ducky, a fern growing, some stuff growing on. But the way that the water is like running down the build, I don't know why, but it just looks absolutely insanely good to me. Because you start off up here and you got a nice trickle down effect, then to there, then to there. It just looks so good. I don't know. I think it just looks incredibly good. It doesn't look tacky or like this spot's bigger, this spot's littler. No, it looks like what a fountain would actually be looking like, flowing down. Like just incredible job by this city fountain. Pretty cool. Now this is the cliff top citadel. Now this is obviously a whitewashed type building, castle rather, set up on a cliff. It looks like the Serpent Knights are the faction that live at this castle. And you obviously have the modular style build where you can kind of take it apart, unfold it, much like Lionette's Castle. I'm not sure why this guy's blowing a flamethrower. I don't know if it's like fantasy elements, but you obviously have the catapult thing up here, windmill, some play features, flower, kind of callbacks to Lionette's Castle. And obviously the underground dungeons or wherever that leads. So a lot of playability, it looks like. You can move stuff around, raise up and down structures or whatever, even like hidden little entrances to the castle itself. Pretty cool. I really like that. Obviously have a nice little eating area down here and a dungeon down here as well. Really cool. A lot of interior. Probably would be really cool to see in person. Obviously coming in at 4,000 pieces. Pretty cool. I like it. Now next is the coastal base. Now this guy went crazy with this thing because like, dude, he has literally a minifigure hanging from the bridge by its throat. I don't know if they would have him change that or not, but bro, And honestly, this looks small when you're looking at it. I think it's just because the verticality, instead of it being more elongated, but this is 4,000 pieces. It almost looks like not 4,000 pieces, but you obviously have like a little structure down here for like whatever, ancient times. Very cool ballista up here that you can spin and turn around. Very nice design to be able to do that. And just some cool little unique places to be able to get in and out. Obviously, it's pretty cramped because it's made vertically and not horizontally. And you can see here how it's put together. Obviously, have this really big flame up here to like maybe be like a spotlight. Because I know in ancient times they had like a flame at the top of towers and a big mirror to use as a spotlight out onto the ocean, which is a pretty cool, unique design. How they came up with that. And I think that's kind of what's going on up there. But I'm not sure. But this is pretty cool. I like this. And they did a good job. Now, next we have the coronation at the White Tower. Now, this is a huge white tower. Like, I feel like it fits in perfectly with that new Lord of the Rings set that came out, like the Minas Tirith thing, whatever that's called, the big white city. I think it looks awesome next to that. It would probably look awesome next to it. And you got the 10 and tree and a couple side builds and stuff like that. But obviously, this is based off of, you could see right here, like the how it would look with a minifigure, so the minifigure scale, but like all the intricate designs and the way they did that, and obviously it's based off of real world architecture, and more like cathedral-esque style stuff, and that's got a bell tower, so it's pretty cool. It's like they're kind of in the middle of building it. Oh, okay, I see. So that's the top of the tower. So this is the top of the tower, I believe, and they are going to put it on. It looks like in this image it's on, so it's like they're kind of putting it together as they're imaging the set. So that's pretty cool. Now next we have the Countryside Cottage. Now this is very reminiscent of the Snow White and the Seven Dwarves cottage, with that yellow roof and the wood. But I really love this, obviously just for a modern set, but you could use this for a medieval village. I feel like this would go along very well with like the medieval blacksmith, the new alchemist workshop is coming out, the new Sleepy Dragon Inn, because you have a red roof, you have a green roof, you have a blue roof, and then you could have a yellow roof. That would fit in very nicely, I think, for a like fantasy themed thing. But I just love the browns and whites and how the color just makes it. I'm such a sucker for like vegetation and good color that makes the set not overly colored, but like just enough that looks realistic. Like you got some sunflowers, flower pots in the windows, and up here. And obviously you're going to have a nice interior as well. Very cool looking rug, nice interior, not too much, nothing too crazy going on, but enough to like give you a nice feel for the interior. And you also have it upstairs as well. Haberdashery. I'm not sure what a haberdashery is. The only haberdashery I know is the one in the Hateful Eight, and that is one that you do not want to visit. If you know, you know. So, and I just love this bed design. I don't think we'll ever make a bed. I don't think Lego will ever be able to make a bed better than this design. Like, it just looks so good with the slopes and then the tiling on top. Pretty cool. Next is the Countryside Greenhouse. Now, are these actually made by the same person? They are not. Okay, so this is just a smaller set. And again, like, I'm picking all the best sets. Like, because again, we have to pick 5 sets, and they have to range from 2,500 pieces. So you have to have 4,000 piece set, a 600 piece set, whatever it is, the final number has to range of those 5 sets to 2,500 pieces about. So that's why I'm like throwing in all these best sets, because then at the end I'll show you like what my top 5 picks were. Because obviously you can't pick all 5 castle, you can't pick all 5 fantasy. It has to be 1 castle, 1 fantasy, 1 pirate, and stuff like that. So I'm just giving you guys all the ideas of what is probably going to be the ones that are coming. And Countryside Greenhouse was one of those. I really like the way it looks. The interior looks really cool. I just love how people are able to make different plants like bamboo. Looks like hot chili peppers, and just like using a bone element, the red bone element, as like a pepper is so cool. It's so unique. It gives such ideas for your own stuff. It's just, and the pots look so cool. You have a little well here, a spigot, flower gardens in the back. Like, that is so cool to see. And I think they just did an excellent job using what we have as Lego pieces to come up with such different and unique flower designs and options. Really cool. And look at this bench. Like, I don't even know what that piece is, but that bench looks insanely good to me. Like, I don't know, the color just looks amazing. Got a little sidewalk, nothing too fancy, nothing too big. Got a nice archway here. But it looks really cool. This bench looks awesome, dude. Awesome. It looks like something you see in a modular building, and it's only 900 pieces. So it's not like, and you got the fan up here, obviously. So a lot of detail. And it's 900 pieces, nothing too crazy. This would probably range in around $600 or $600. It better not be $600, like $60 range, $50 range, which would be pretty cool to have for people who have like, I could see this fitting along perfectly next to A-frame cabin. Like they're living out there, they got a little greenhouse, stuff like that. I think that would be really cool to have next to like A-frame cabin, stuff like that, outdoorsy type builds. Now next is the Crimson Isle. Now this is obviously a very much a Griffin set. Very big interior going on here. You obviously have the main hallway and some, looks like a chef room or something. I don't know what that was. But obviously you have different ways to get up to it. And it's like the built on the side of a cliff. You have the trees growing outward. And again, the only kind of lore we have for the Griffins is that when they designed them, somebody like at Lego said, like, we imagine the Griffins being a more cliffside faring faction where the Krakens would be more seafaring. And like that's the only bit of lore we've ever gotten from them, and we've kind of just ran with it that the Griffins live up on the cliffs and hills, mountainsides, and the Krakens are obviously seafaring, which makes sense for them. But the Griffins are a bit more like a Griffin living on a cliffside. I can kind of see that, but that's where we've kind of gotten that idea of them living on cliffs and rocks. That's why you see so many of these sets built on like a lot of rock work and cliffs, which is I really like that. Because most of the cliffs you see with water down below, which is pretty unique. Like a lot of the classic castles, Lion Knight's castle and stuff, are just built on maybe a little bit of rock outcroppings. But the Griffins are much more built on like the sides of the cliffs. Like the castle's built onto it, which is pretty cool. Pretty unique if we ever get a set like that. So it's not bad. Now next is the Dark Spire Citadel. Now if you are a fan of the Fright Knights faction, you are definitely going to want to look at this and hopefully vote for it and hope that it comes to fruition, because they are obviously using the Serpent Knight's torso to get the black chainmail armory type look. But obviously these shields will have to be used with stickers because, again, we can't make our own pieces. It can only be used with set pieces that come from Pick-a-Brick. Again, is what it is. But this guy's doing his best to get the Fright Knights faction into Lego again in a 4,000 piece set. Big, red, black, gray. Obviously, that fits in very well with the Fright Knights. We haven't got a lot of Fright Knight sets. It's one of those later factions we got after the old classic factions, like the four classic ones. It's like one of the most later ones. You got a really cool throne room here with like this obviously vampiric guy, very much goth stuff going on. You got little bat signets going on here. Pretty cool. Now next is the Dragon Spire. Now I just love the look of this set just because of the red roofs, and obviously again you got that cliff style build, and it's based on the Griffins, and it looks like the Horse Knights are visiting, and you obviously have a dragon element that lives down below the castle, which is pretty cool. We don't get a lot of fantasy elements in actual castle sets and themes. You get a couple horse molds and a lot of interior going on here. They might be a bit too small, I don't know, because it's hard to see in the pictures like what's going on in the interiors, but obviously you could see it closed up and then what it looks like open. I think it looks really good like closed up, honestly, but it looks very tall, and it's coming in at 4,000 pieces. It looks like the dragon is like actually friendly because it's like turning on the furnace or oven or whatever and like cooking. Oh, this guy's like blacksmithing and the dragon's like helping, so it's very fantasy vibed. And obviously the Griffins, it's a Griffin castle. And then you have the Horse Knights. Looks like they're also friendly to the Griffins as well because they're like holding their horses in their stables. So maybe it's just like a nice friendly castle with like good vibes, you know what I mean? Now next is the Driftwood Keep. Now this is a fan favorite. This was in Series 9. Everyone thought that this was going to be passed in Series 9. And then Sleepy Dragon Inn came out and we were all like, whoa, 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 what's going on here? Is the castle faction, is the castle theme coming back, and that's why you're not making this Driftwood Keep? Because I feel like everyone wanted the Driftwood Keep. I myself am on the other side. Okay, I want you to hear me. Where I see why everyone wants this set, right? I see why. I see what the draw is. It's very cool. It's very unique, like built up, and obviously it's using that new Kraken faction. Very cool, right? I like that. I understand that. I understand why you like it. It's very well designed. You have the nice dock. You have the nice dock here, and the dock can lead up to and around the cliff into this building, and then up and into this building, and then out to here, wherever you want to go. very well designed. That's like takes a lot of ingenuity. I love the boat build, and I like the little idea of like a sarlacc tile pit down here where like you fall through the trapdoor and the kraken like mouth eats you and stuff. Very cool. Okay. I myself am kind of on the ladder of this set because, like, again, we get Grey Castle, Grey Castle, Grey Castle, Grey Castle. If we're going to get a Grey Castle, I want something really good looking for me personally. Very gray. This looks very thin up here to me when you unfold it. Again, you can't, there's not really a good image of what it looks like closed up. Very thin looking up here. I'm not a fan of green, honestly. You got the green faction. Torso minifigures spread all around. You got the green faction flags and shields spread all around. You've got the green roofs up on the top. And you have the green seaweed and stuff going on around the build. There's a lot of green going on. And again, it looks okay if you like green. I just feel like the sails and the minifigures are just blending in way too much with all the vegetation and the flags, and it's like the roof. It's like a bit too much green for me. And it's not that I dislike the build. And Brickhammer makes amazing sets. Like Outlaw Forest Den, one of the best sets the Wolfpack has ever received. I love that set. I can't wait for it to arrive. Right? I love Outlaw Forest Den, which Brickhammer created. And I love the ingenuity of making the dock. I love the look of the dock. But this part of the build right here, I feel like just delete that and get this part count down. Like, I don't, like, if it was just this part where it's like you're going up onto the cliffside and into the castle and it's like a facade, I would like that probably a lot better. Obviously you can fold this up. See, I wish I could see what it looked like with it, like, and this angle folded up. But the way this sits right here, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. I think it's just too much green. I'm getting worn out of all the grays and blacks and grays and grays and dark grays. It's got to be something that really catches my eye. And honestly, I'm not a big fan of the Krakens. I like the Griffins. I like the Horse Knights. Everything else, eh. But yeah, I understand why people want this set, and if it becomes a new set, I'm happy for everyone that wants to get this set. But I myself, I'm not paying $350 to $400 for this build to put on a shelf next to my Atlantis Castle. I personally won't. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who will, but I personally am not. I would much rather have a more smaller castle set or something that fits along with my Atlantis Castle and stuff like that, and just looks more in line with what I like. That's all. I'm not trying to hate on it. I'm not trying to start anything here. I'm just telling you why it is that it's just not hitting for me as much as I would like it to. Okay, now next is the Fire Lookout Tower. Now this is just a more modern-esque build. Obviously, it's like the Fire Watch going on here. I really like this truck build. I really could see this going along very well with like the, I don't know, A-frame cabin, even next to the new Sakura Tree Trail set that just came out from BrickLink. And obviously, you got the nice living quarters up in the tower itself, and some coffee maker, really cool designs, little designs here. So it's pretty cool. I like that. And I like the truck build. Now next is the Firehouse. Now this is by a guy named Brickhucker. This is the guy who made Fort Huck that will be coming up here in a moment, which I really like. But this set is more like 1960s-esque Firehouse. I think it would fit in very well with people's city modulars. Like, just that angle of it alone, people would love to have this in their cities. I guarantee it. Nice bell tower here, nice clock tower. The truck build itself, I just want, and obviously you can raise and lower the garage itself, but that truck build right there, you should submit this on its own because people would love to have that probably just on its own. Like, this looks incredible. This truck right here looks incredible. I love when people make small builds because it's so hard to get a small build to look right because you're using a lot less pieces. And this captures this truck perfectly. You have the water tank, the horn, the siren, just the curvature of the hood. Awesome. You have the pipe obviously slide down like you would in the old days of a Firehouse or whatever they do. Obviously, they don't do that today. But even on this side, you have the ladder, the fire truck. Just love that, man. The fire truck looks amazing. I think the fire truck is my favorite part of this build, and it just looks awesome. And I think people would love to have this in their city. So that's a pretty cool build. Now, here is his second build. This is Fort Huck. Now, this is one of my top sets. This is obviously a Western-themed set, but I'm going to show you how it fits with the Pirates and Castle theme here in a moment. And you obviously have very much callbacks to like Fort Legoredo, but you have a lot of stucco here. Very well designed. The walls look incredible. Obviously, like Fort Legoredo, you can spread it all out and make it a nice, big, long display instead of just a closed-up design if that's what you want for like your shelf or whatever. You obviously have some play features where you can shake the oven and push this down and the wall blows out, which is very good design. Now, this right here is what I want to talk about. This set, for you guys, if you're not a Western theme fan, you're a pirate theme fan, look at these. You can put these 3 whitewashed stones together, the stucco parts, these 3 pieces, and you have a perfect pirate base, perfect pirate island. You even have a cannon up here. You got already a bunch of accessories. And you have the little kitchen and stuff like that. Looks incredible for a castle or a pirate island with that white. Could go along with Fort Legoredo. If you're a castle fan, look at these 2. Put these 2 pieces together. You have like the entrance to a wolf pack added onto your Outlaw Forest Den. Added onto a wolf pack little base. Like, this looks awesome. And the fact that this set can be utilized by 3 different themes, mostly Western, but you can use it for pirates, you can use it for castle, if you get bored of the Western display, if you just want it for, you can even just use the fort itself as a medieval display, take out some things and add in some castle elements and medieval elements, obviously the bank and stuff like that, would look awesome, man. Like, this set can be utilized so well. I think that this should just become a set just because it can be utilized so well for the 3 different factions. There are 3 different themes, rather. And I think it would just sell incredibly well, honestly. If people understand, like, what I'm saying here with, like, using those 3 for the Pirate Island, using those 3 for, like, a Outlaw Forest Regiment faction, and if you want, you can obviously use it in the traditional Western theme layout. I think people would really go for it. I really like it. And 3,400 pieces would probably come in. Siege Encampment was 2,500 pieces, 240. This is 3,400 pieces. I can see it coming in right around 320, maybe $320. Got a lot of minifigures, a lot of accessories, some horse molds. So that would be pretty cool to have. Now, next is Grandpa's Biplane. This is just a more traditional set that I just threw in because I really like the design. It was also in Series 9. I really like the truck build. You obviously get 1 minifigure, 650 pieces. This set is 650 pieces, which is like pretty small. This would come in at like $35, $40, which is really cool. To get a very well-designed plane, like that plane design just looks immaculate to me. The way they use the strings to get the wings structured. Obviously, you have the little truck build here as well. Like, you're getting a very, very well-done truck with, like, a tool, and you got some fuel, like Grandpa's going and fixing his plane or whatever, kind of, like, reminiscent of Wild America almost, if you know that movie. And then a really cool plane build. Like, the plane build looks incredible. You obviously have the flaps can go up and down, and the truck is, like, there. You can drive it up to it. I think it would just look really cool as, like, a little diorama of the plane and the truck. It just looks so good. Now, next is the Graviton Nomad. Now, this is a more space-inspired set. I could see people using this for the new green and gold spaceman that came out. I wish it was, like, more oriented towards that, because I bet a lot more people would want to get it. But LEGO might say, no, we don't want you to make that because it's getting into our space theme. So maybe that's why they went with these minifigures, just random minifigures. But the thing that's great about this set is, the one thing I love about sets is when a minifigure can, in theory, get to all the parts of the build. Like, Lionized Castle can do that, whether it's a ladder, whether it's staircases. Even if, like, the minifigure can't fit up the staircase or whatever, in theory, there's a route that leads to where you need to go in the castle. And this build, in particular, just drew my eye like that, because it obviously with spaceships, it's very hard to do that, right? Incredibly hard, because usually you've got a lot of pieces in the middle that are keeping that from happening. This guy was able to do that and has a lot of playability functions inside and, like, there's a lot of room inside to do stuff. You obviously have the bed, but if you go around here, you can go into the bathroom. If you go into the hallway, you have the bedroom and some food and stuff like that. You have to have the cockpit up here. And then you can go, obviously, nice landing gear as well. And then you have the back. So this is the hallway where that kitchen was. Just incredible. Like, I love that. The suits are back here. Like, they're going to go back there, put their suits on, and go out the back and put their oxygen and helmets on and go down the ramp. But, like, the fact that you can, in theory, walk up this ramp, go through the hallway, go through the bedroom, get to the cockpit, get to the bathroom, get to the bedroom, like, in such a small set that's 1,800 pieces, I think is just designed so well. Like, the fact that all that is packed in right here, awesome. And such a unique, like, looking build for, like, a spaceship. If you want something cool for, like, a space theme setup, really cool. Nothing looks too crammed. You got a lot of unique hoses going on here and make it look like fuel and stuff like that. I think it's a really cool build for 1,800 pieces. I think they did an excellent job. Now, next is the ice fishing set. Now, this is coming in at 500 pieces, so this is like that smaller set that I threw in because it just looks so good. You obviously have the ice chipped out here with the pickaxe, and this guy's fishing. You got a little campfire over here. They've obviously skied in on skis with their like little sled dogs, and you got some animals catching their fish. And they're cooking the fish on the fire. And this part of the build is just, it's so satisfying to me. Like, the look of the skis, the tracks that are left behind using those particular Lego pieces fitting in so perfectly for the skis. I don't know why, but that just looks so satisfying to me. And like the skis stuck in the snow. You got the little wolf back here hiding, the little trees, pine trees with like snow on the tops of them. I don't know, it just looks so satisfying to look at. Now next is the Ivory Palace. Now from the front, you get the idea that it is an autumn palace. You have the griffins on this side, the serpents on this side, and the bell tower up here. And then obviously you have the brown for the ground. So it's like fall, like leaves everywhere. And you have the pumpkins back here, autumn leaves. This set looks bad from this angle. And if you think it looks good from this angle, look at this angle. Look at that window, like the stained glass of it. Oh my gosh, that is so amazing. And the browns around it, instead of just getting gray castle, green ground, gray castle, green ground. This is white castle, black roofs, autumn, fall, and brown ground with like the fern elements. You got pumpkins growing, a little stream going maybe under the catacombs of the castle into the dungeons. And that big window is removable so that you can get into the interior of it itself. You have a cool throne room here with like this guy, the griffin, sitting at the throne room. Like maybe there's a big banquet or a feast going on. Nice interior. You can write letters. Nice bed. It's very small. The interior is very small, but I think it's done very well with the room that they had. Because obviously this looks like the tower or something somewhere. And this part of the build just looks insane because you can just, like, okay, you have the armory over here, like set up with weapons. You have the statue, obviously. Then you have the flowers in the courtyard for the corners of the courtyard and door here. But like I said, in theory, you can go up these stairs, then up these stairs, then down this, like, walkway here with the railing. And I don't know why that railing just looks so good because it's like you can walk down the railing, go down these stairs, then go up this ladder if you want to get to the bell tower. You can go down the stairs to get to the courtyard. You can go in this door to get to the dungeon or whatever. You got the pigeon right here. And just the white is really cool. And look here, you obviously have the like pigeons, send the king's letters with carrier pigeons. A really cool, unique thing that we've not really seen done in a castle set that was obviously done in the old days. I don't know how well they were utilized, but obviously they were, somehow someone was able to send pigeons off and then get them back. I don't see how that's possible, but apparently people were doing it. And nice little desk here for writing the letters, and then you send the pigeon off with your little letter. And this is only 2,600 pieces, guys. Everything you've seen, this is only 2,600 pieces. Hidden gold sections. The portcullis is playable. A lot of nice griffin builds here. You have a queen build. You have the king build. You have a couple serpents, horses. Like, this is only 2,600 pieces, and I feel like it's huge. Like, I would love to see this in person. This is an excellent castle. This is an excellent set. Very well done. Part count, very well utilized. 2,600 pieces. Very good job for white and the Ivory Palace using the griffins and not just sinking into the traditional colors that everyone uses for castle, doing something very unique. I really like that. Even the stream down below, and you even have the little pumpkin patch down here. Incredible design. Very well done. Now this is the kiosk. Now the kiosk is something that I could see being done for the modular buildings and people who like modular buildings. This is 730 pieces, which is pretty steep for such a small build. But I think a lot of the parts went into like a lot of the detail on the sidewalk and the base plate itself. But like, just look at this. This, I feel like you could take this off and put it in your city and it would look so cool. Like, I think it's just so unique. Something unique. Again, I love uniqueness. See, a lot of the parts are going into the interior and making very much a detailed interior and detailed exterior for the sidewalk. But you obviously have like a newspaper stand, mailbox, and some vegetation on the side, some postage. Looks like something you'd see in London, maybe. Now, next is the lookout tower. Now, this is another Firewatch tower. That's kind of like, for those of you who don't know, in the United States, there's lookout towers. And for us, when there's like fire watches and like it's really dry here, we have to have people go up into these towers and like watch the forest like with binoculars 24/7. And if they see smoke, they have to call the other watchtower. That's like, because each watchtower can kind of see each other and convey what they're seeing. They'll be like, hey, I see smoke in this quadrant. And then that person will be like, okay, I see it. I'm going to go check it out or whatever, blah, blah. So that the forest doesn't burn to the ground. Really cool design. You can obviously see how tall this is. Looks awesome. And obviously there's a generator here. The person has to like live in this for weeks at a time. You have the little bathroom here, the outhouse, and then you have a little storage shed down here. Very well designed. I love the design of this little storage shed. Then you have the upstairs of the lookout tower itself. Obviously, like I said, they're living there, so you've got some things to do. I'd be taking a PlayStation, bro. You have the map of the region so that you know what quadrant to tell them you see smoke at, some newspapers, and just compass. I know there was a game called Firewatch that came out and everyone loved it so much. This kind of reminds me of that, but like the guy's living there, or girl living there, and they have to like eat the food that they brought and stuff like that. It's very cool, very relaxing experience from what I've heard. And obviously here's the interior of that shed where you have the stocked wood and some tools to work on things if he needs to work on the generator to keep it going so that he doesn't lose power. So that's pretty cool design. I think it would look very good next to A-frame cabin. Like I said, those outdoorsy builds, very cool. Now next is the Loot Lagoon. Now this is actually a pirate ship on top of a cliff build itself. I think it looks really cool. Obviously it's sometimes ships are a bit too big for me because I don't want to see such a huge ship like offsetting what an island looks like, but you have some interior of the island down below itself. Nice cool waterfall feature. And then the build itself, the ship on top, kind of reminds me of Sea of Thieves. There's a island with a ship on it. The ship itself is actually removable, and you can just display the ship itself if you want that. And then the island, you got the little island. You can even put the ship alongside the island like it's floating up to the island. And the skull is obviously removable with some interior to mess around with as well. So pretty cool design there with Loot Lagoon. Now this is by a guy named Peace on Earth. Now this is the Maple Sugar Shack. This is the one who made, this is the guy who made and got past the Sequoia Tree Trail set. Very unique. Got like nice maple trees in the winter. A nice little shack here with some wood stacked up. Obviously they're going and they got the maple syrup like taps into the tree, like they're going and collecting it and off of the buckets, putting it on to their horse and like taking it inside and making just maple syrup stuff with it. Yeah, nice interior here. Here's where they're like, however they're making maple syrup or whatever they're doing to it, like putting it in jars. And you got a bunch of maple syrup stuff going on here. So pretty cool set. You're obviously making like candy outside with it too, selling it. Very unique design. And at 1,100 pieces, pretty small build. Like this would look awesome next to like that ski set that we just looked at with those skis and the tracks. It would be pretty cool. Now next is the Medieval Tournament. I love the way that this has so much color going on with the banners and just the flags itself and everything going on in the tournament. And you obviously have an interior as well for all the different things going on. And you have nice traditional grandstands. I know sometimes people make grandstands, they're like very extravagant for a Joust set. I like seeing just a traditional grandstand. where you have the king in the middle, and then you have more traditional grandstands that are just wooden planks, basically for the more peasanty people to sit on and watch the show. So that's a pretty cool set, and for 1,600 pieces, I think it looks awesome for a Joust set. Coming in at 1,600 pieces, this would probably range around 140. Next is the Merchant's Quarter. Now, I'm not sure what it looks like. The Serpent Knights, maybe some Krakens going on over here, but this is very unique with like the tan. Almost looks very Middle Eastern in architecture going on here. You have the nice white statue out front with the white horse. Very cool. And then obviously it's a fountain as well, but you got interior as well. I'm not sure if it folds and closes up, but it looks like, yeah, it's definitely Middle Eastern because you got palm trees and stuff. So kind of like Duskmark Keep was, kind of like out in the desert. Here's the serpents here. You got some cool interiors. This guy's throwing a coin into the wishing well, it looks like. Some interior over here. And yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool little build. It's very unique for the castle theme. Next, we have the Merchant's Wharf, Cog, and Crane. I don't know if Wharf is how you say that, but this is the guy who made the Frigate Fortuna set that just came out in Series 7. And he made this as well as like a nice little crane build next to a nice ship. And obviously you can see the ship is like Horse Knights, because look at that. That is brick built like for the logo. Looks insanely good to me. Insanely good. You got a nice little boat, nothing too big. And obviously the crane itself. And like, I love when builders are able to build the set itself and like picture it so that we aren't just looking at it in a 3D rendering. Because you can really tell what it looks like in person, and I think it looks really cool. So that's a pretty cool set if you like sea-inspired builds. Next is the Pirate Galleon Revenant. Now this is another big build. Obviously we have to use brick-built sails because we can't use fabric, right? But this build is very cool in the fact that it's just a big, huge ship again. It's like you have 2 rows of cannons. I'm not sure the differences of what a galleon is, what a frigate is, I only know because of Sea of Thieves. I know you have big interior going on here, and just a lot of cool stuff going on with the cannons. They look like they are actual cannons that are like flick fire, where you like pull them back and they actually shoot. So I know people will be happy with that. But a really cool build. It almost looks very much like Pirates of Barracuda Bay. It looks very much like that set. Very reminiscent of that. So very cool. Next is the Pirates Last Stand set. Now this is pretty cool because it's almost like that Pirates of Barracuda Bay, but it's more spread out. I don't know if you could probably build the set itself. Got a lot of interior. You can roll up and close or lower the boats and dinghies, and it's like got gold overflowing over here. You can like go mine it. Really cool. A lot of interior, a lot of fun features. Actually, this is the Revenant. Wait a minute. Pirate Galleon Revenant by Super Minister. Pirate Galleon Revenant. But this is Bricky Bricks. What's going on here? So did they build the sets together and like you can buy the ship or you can buy the island? Huh, interesting. Well, that's interesting. Let me know if you know what's going on there with those 2 sets. Now, next is the Post Office at Stagecoach. Now, this looks really cool for just a Western-themed diorama. You got a nice little post office, very well designed, nice cool roofs. I like the color usage, packed with a lot of stuff going on back here and details. You obviously have scorpions, and I really like the look of that Stagecoach. Really cool. Obviously, you can ride up the horse and put it there. Oh, I really like how he designed that to put the saddlebags like on the horse. That's pretty cool. And you have the interior of the post office itself. And here's the stagecoach, the interior of that. So you even have an interior for the stagecoach. It's pretty cool. Now next is the Royal Nest. Now this is a set that I'm pretty sure I saw in the previous series, Series 9. So it looks like it got changed up a little bit. Got a lot of white cylindrical styled builds going on. Nice big door to the entrance there. It looks like this is foldable in and this is foldable in, so you could make it smaller or wider if you like, but this is a very unique design here. And you got a lot of cool towers to position minifigures on, and a lot of interior, it looks like, as well. Looks like you have a throne room. You have upstairs dungeons, eating place. waterfall running off here. That's cool, like seeing in the background like that. And obviously this is made for the Griffin Knights. So it looks like the Griffin Knights are really big, heavy hitters for this series. Now next is Sailing for the Light. Now this is an amazing looking set to me just because it's only 1,700 pieces. And the boat build, as well as the little house build, look incredible. Like, I love getting boats that aren't too big, that make the islands look too small, right? This one looks like it would fit in very well with a lot of builds. Obviously, the brick built sails, yeah, we wish we probably had fabric, but it is what it is. But it's not too big, and it's not too small. Like, you get that it's a big, imposing ship without it being a actually big, imposing thing to put on a display. Like, I feel like it would scale pretty well with, like, Thieves of Tortuga. And this little build itself on its own is really cool looking. Like, the coloring of the set just looks awesome. The roof, the way he designed the roof with those rounded piece elements, half-rounded elements, and the little light tower and the dock. Like, it just looks so good. I don't know why. It's really small inside, obviously. But it's just like, it does everything it needs to do. It gives you the vibe that it's an island, gives you the dock, gives you a nice little boat. I don't know. It gives you a couple palm trees in color, and this guy's obviously unloading, giving him supplies. We could obviously read the description and probably see that this guy probably lives on the island and he works the lighthouse and they bring him supplies. But I don't know. I just love the little build. I love everything about it. Very well designed. Now, this is the science kit. Now, I just picked this because of how well he was able to capture all these little elements. Like, you got the little microscope thing, the vials, the eraser, the pencil, the notebook. The notebook itself just looks so good to me. I could see them making this. Like, look at this. Even the pencil sharpener. Like, all these little things look so good. Just mimicking, like, a real life notebook and stuff going on. Like, even this mechanical pencil or whatever did an excellent job. And this is only 500 pieces. I could see them very much passing this just for the small set. And I don't know, it just looks really good. I think they did a really good job with the piece count and stuff. Really cool doing that. This is the Seaside Villa. Really cool and just a unique design. This could be used as a fantasy. It could be used as castle. It could be even used as modern, like Italy almost. Like the work here on this like intricate like railing and the shingling of the roof, and you even have the little carriage. I could see this going for like, you could get this as a because again, fantasy and castle are different. We can get fantasy and castle in the same series. This could be passed as a fantasy style set, just because I don't see any faction logo here, and they're not using Griffin shields. That's why they're doing that. So this could be used as like a fantasy styled element and just turn it into a castle theme. So I think they did really cool. Got some unique stuff going on here. Looks like you pull this out, you have 2 swords and a map. You can obviously get into the interiors pretty decent. You have the carriage. This is the Shipwreck Scavengers. Now, this is a cool build just because, like I said, with this, that previous one we just looked at, you got a nice boat build and you got a nice island build. Nothing too crazy, and it's only 500 parts. Nice raft with like a sail and some rigging, and you have a nice little island here with nice detail with the coconut trees. You got some gold. You have a wheel there for some reason. I don't know how you're going to be able to steer it, but obviously you have a lot of stuff here. Looks like they've just collected everything they have. This is like Castaway or something. So, and you got the gold on the island here. This guy obviously didn't make it. He's digging up the treasure itself. Pretty cool. I could see this being the small set. Very nice design set, and I think it did everything it needs to do. Next is the Spice Galleon. So another galleon with a lot of rigging and sails going on here, kind of like Fortuna. A lot of cannons. If someone can explain to me what the difference in a frigate and what a galleon is, I think it's just the cannons, right? It's like how many cannons it has. That's pretty cool. I like it. I like the sails being up too. You can see the set a lot more with the sails being up. Next is the Stone Spire Citadel. Now this is again another cliff top base. Looks like in the fall, in the autumn, and it's for the griffins. You have the entrance there. Very just a unique build with pretty small and tight. This room looks pretty good, but I was having like a dungeon down here. This guy, I don't know if he's like being buried or what's going on there, but looks like maybe he's breaking out his buddy from the dungeon. And here's some of the interior. Looks like another carrier pigeon thing going on here. Pretty dark set. Pretty dark set. Nothing too colorful, nothing too crazy going on. Now this is Sunset Hotel. Now this reminds me so much of like Vice City. I don't know why, but it's like I feel like this would go along with the. I know there was a theme a while back at Lego called like Paradisa or something, and it like reminds me so much of it. It's obviously a hotel. You got two big palm trees out front, and then a lot of interiors like the hotel, the lobby. I think it just looks so unique and so cool. I don't know why. It just reminds me of like Vice City or Miami back in the 70s or something, like Miami Vice. I don't know. I think it does a really good job with like using the light pinks and just how they're spelling sunset and stuff. I think it would look pretty cool in someone's like modular city as something pretty unique and cool. This is Tangerine Town. This is very unique in the fact that it has orange roof, black edges on the corners and black timbers, and then you have the tans and orange browns bricks for the more just detail work. But obviously it's built on like a dock or a fishing port. You have the waves crashing up next to the dock. This can be used as castle, but I don't know how you would. Maybe, I don't know. It's pretty cool though. It's pretty unique. The greens really just make it look really good because you're using two different greens against those oranges and blacks. Really cool. Now this is the Barber and Photographer. Now this is another Western inspired set. This is very unique in the fact that it's two of the builds. Like usually we get just a general store, we get a train station, we get something. This is like two builds put together like you would see on an old Western street where you would walk from one building to the next, like walking on the planks of the decking. So you got the barber shop over here and the photographer over here. And you got a lot of Western elements going on outside. You got a nice little old dead looking tree that you would see back in the Old West. Looks like some vultures standing around it as well. Got some interior as well. Looks like the interior is actually unfold to get to the interiors. So that's pretty cool. Here's the old looking photographer thing. And this guy actually, okay, so this one is built by this guy in person as well, because you can tell this is a real set, not 3D rendered. So that's cool. I like it when you get that. Another nice little barber chair here. Next is a set called the Cozy Townhouse. Now this is done with 1,800 pieces. It looks incredible. I love the different roofs, how the roofs are like, okay, you got this roof, you got this little awning for this one, and then you got this one going in the other direction. And then you got this one over here that's a completely different style roof. It's more like a lattice for like vegetation to grow up and wrap around. And then you got this nice little tree build. I just love this tree. It's so simple yet so nice. Vending machine. You got this little room right here. Obviously, it looks like maybe a florist. I'm not quite sure. And I'm not sure where the apartment itself is. Oh, a little koi pond. Bicycle. I'm just looking to see where the apartment is. Okay, so the apartment is up here, it looks like. And then you have the ferns growing off the balcony. The sofa. Cool design sofa. Little kitchen. Yeah, pretty good design. This is the Fury of Moby Dick. Now, this is a cool build just because it's like, you can place it and it's like the entire ocean and floor of what you're placing it on. And it's like popping out and like destroying the boat. It looks like the bigger boat over here already got destroyed. And these guys are trying to sail away. And like the boat is, or the whale itself came out and like destroyed this guy's little boat already. And it's cool to like get that picturesque in like a freeze framed moment where it's like the ship is going down, this guy's getting blowed up by the whale. Pretty cool design. I really like the way that you were able to capture the boat like breaking apart mid. Like it's hard to do that in Lego form because like you have to set Lego pieces in like different weird directions, and I think that was captured really cool. That's a pretty good job. Now this is the Joust set from the medieval tournament, and this is actually a fan favorite going on right now. This is just a typical Joust set. The problem is I don't know how much of a fan I am with the grandstands. I just want typical peasanty style grandstands. I love the build itself, but it's 3,000 pieces. I don't know. It would probably ring in right around 350, 320. Got a nice little jousting railing here. The other side of the joust is actually very well designed as well. A lot of good detail going on for it. And just really cool. We've got a lot of banners going on. Very, just well designed. I mean, you did a good job designing the tents, making them all unique. And obviously the horse knights are the one hosting it because they're the horse knights. They know the most about horses, and they're like hosting the horse joust thing. So I think that's pretty cool to do. You know, just have the tower up here and vendor and grandstands. The grandstands can hold like 8 people each, so you could put like 20 people in this. This is the old garage. Now, this could fit along perfectly with that firehouse that I just showed you. A lot of cool builds for the vehicles. Awesome job doing that. Obviously, they're taking the vehicles in, working on them. Really cool to get like a classic styled build that's like, I don't know, if you're building a city that's like based on like old days, it would be really cool to get because it's like it's more brick styled. It's obviously based on like 60-esque type stuff. So I think this was done pretty well. Now this is the park gazebo, another small set, 699 piece set. I really enjoy this set just because of how like it's capturing like different architectural elements, like the bridge is going off on an angle, and then you have the tree coming up at an angle, and then you have the gazebo over there itself, and you got like this guy taking a photograph of the people like getting married or whatever, wedding pictures. I think it's pretty cool. It would fit in very well with just a city set, like in a city garden or courtyard or whatever. Now this is the training ground by the guy named Brick Project. Now this guy has previously made a couple sets. He made the Gold Mine Expedition. He has the upcoming sushi restaurant that's coming out, and then he's now submitted this set. This is the training ground. Now this isn't really for any particular faction. It's just like a really cool like Coliseum build, and I just love getting a build like this because it's like so unique, rather than just getting a castle or just getting a medieval hut that is either a blacksmith or a bakery or whatever. This is so unique where it's like rounded in nature. You have some trees, but like then you have the place where you're training with your archery. You're doing this over here. You're training with dogs. You're training with swords, and the king up here is watching. So you can make this for any faction you want, honestly. This could fit in with any faction you want. Maybe it be a gladiator arena, and people are up here watching in the stands. Like, incredibly designed. Just the way that you made this curved like this just looks awesome. I love it. It looks like, actually, that's like an entirely new faction. So like Bulldogs or something. We're not going to see anything like this anytime soon from Lego, and it's 3,600 pieces. At least it's better than 4,000. So that's a pretty cool set. Very unique. Next is the Volcano Hideout. Now, this is a pirate-themed set, obviously built onto a volcano. And you can see the water running down the mountain here. Looks like the guy is using the purple torsos from that minifigure that came out for the Shopping Street set, modular Shopping Street. So he made pirates out of that, which is pretty cool. Now, this is called the White Mare Watch. And really cool. I like the color usage. I like it's a blue. It almost reminds me of the old Lion Knight, or the old Knights Kingdom line, with like the blue and white and just very white, and got some fruits growing. Those pops of color wherever you look. Very cool. We got a nice little spot up here to place minifigures, like they're looking out over the kingdom. Yeah, I think it did fairly well. Now, this is called Valley Castello. I just absolutely love the way that this set is built, with like the corner pieces being the brown, and like this archway here, the browns and whites, and the color of like the orange tree. And then you've got the little flowers, and the way that you can open this up into be like a big wall for like a castle wall, but then you have some structure behind it. Looks incredible to me. You got the browns and tans just making the grayness not look as annoying to look at, honestly. Like, sometimes when I look at Lion Nuts Castle, it's like, it's just so gray. Then you got some interior as well. I don't know why these aren't loading. Interior over here. Ladder to get up to the tower. Again, it looks like you can get to all the parts of the build, in theory, by taking a ladder or walkway. You can break it apart in 3 different sections. Here's the interior itself. Just like, look at this. Like, I love the look of that. Those bricks on the sides of the corners, just, and how that is designed as well. Now, next we have the Wild West train station. Now, this is by the same guy who designed the train set that came out, Wild West train set a while back, and as well as the general store a while back. He built this so that he can connect his train to it, which looks pretty cool. I mean, it captures the Wild West obviously perfectly. You even get like a little train cart here that's loading cannons onto it. You can obviously connect that to the existing Wild West train if you have that set. Unfortunately, these images aren't loading. I think it's pretty cool. It looks pretty good for the Wild West. Now, this is another fan favorite, the Wizard's Tower. Obviously, this isn't castle specific, so this can go through as a fantasy set. And it's obviously got the little wizard's top hat on this. Pretty well designed. I mean, I know a lot of people like it. And you got the fall aesthetic here with the black tree. And obviously, the Wizard's Tower goes up through it. Very unique build. Very cool. Obviously, you could imagine Magisto living here or something. So I think it's a pretty good build. But this is the other Wizard's Tower, and I think it looks pretty good. I mean, I know this is kind of too colory, but I think it's a lot smaller. Is why I probably like it so much. It's 1,900 pieces, nice interior with books. Why is it only loading the first 3 pictures? It's so annoying. Well, it is what it is. That's the Wizard's Tower. You pick which Wizard's Tower you think is the best. I don't know. Seeing them side by side, maybe I do like the other one more. I don't know. Now, this set is called Woodland Hollow. This is the last set on the list, and I think it just does really cool things because, you have this big, huge tree, and, the buildings are built onto the side of the tree, and it's just cool seeing, I don't know, it's just really cool seeing this stairway, this, spiral staircase, the way that they were able to accomplish that is, so cool looking. Obviously, you have a lot of cool little interiors going on, but I think the entire build, again, I can only load 3 pictures. Again, the build itself, everything about the build, the interior, the exterior, the way the railing was, the fencing, the tree, the houses being built into the tree, I think it's just done very cool, very uniquely, and I really like it. So that is the last set on this list. Now I'm going to tell you the top 5 ones that I think will probably become the next BrickLink Designer Series 10 sets. Now again, like I said, for each series, you have to have an average of about 2,500 pieces total. So out of the 5 sets, total up all their piece counts, and it should average about 2,500. In Series 7, the Fortuna was at 4,000 pieces, Walt was at 650, 3,600 for the Sushi, 2,300 for the Alchemist Shop, and 1,500 for the Antique Shop, which roughly estimated to around 2,410 pieces. Now for Series 10, my top 5 picks that I believe will be the next Series 10 sets, as well as I would be in deep trouble if these sets were the series because I'd want every single one of them. First up, and again, we have to pick different themed, obviously. We can't just pick all 5 castle, even though I'd love to. My number 1 castle themed set is going to be Training Ground at 3,600 pieces. Now, I just love this set just because of how you can use it for any different faction. This might be counted as a fantasy faction because he doesn't use any of the castle themed figures in it. It's more historically eraed. It's like a gladiator arena. I just love it. I would love to put that next to Lionet's Castle or somewhere around Medieval Town Square because it just fits in so good. They're going there, they're training, they're practicing with their archery, they're training with their dogs, they're sword playing. I just really like it. I think it would do really good for a lot of people's castle builds. I think it would fit in very well. Now for my pirate themed Lego set, this is going to be the Sailing for the Light set. And I just love the way that the ship is built. Very nicely done. Not too big, not too small. You get the idea. And it's at 1,700 pieces. You get a nice little build of a lighthouse and a building. Nothing too crazy. I think it would fit along perfectly next to Thieves of Tortuga. Look very good together. And yeah, I just really like the build itself. That's my pirate themed Lego set. For the historical era themed set, I chose Fort Huck. Now this is 3,500 pieces. This is that Western themed set. And again, you can use this with some small modifications and minifigures as a pirate themed set, as a castle themed set, but mostly as a Western themed set. And I just love it because it's it could be the peak Western themed set, like Lion Knight's Castle was for castle, Thieves of Tortuga was for pirates. It does the Fort Legoredo, everything it did, but on steroids, and it just looks so good. I just love Fort Huck so much. Very well done. I hope that gets passed. For the building themed, I chose either the ice fishing, park gazebo, or that little maple syrup hut. these are all roughly around 500 to 700 pieces. I think maple syrup's a little higher, but those are like my small choices for the builds. A greenhouse build as well, that can throw in there as one of my small ones. Obviously, you can only pick one. I'm just like throwing out all of them because I really like all 4 of them just as much. I really could see either one of all of those becoming the set, and I just really love them. I really like the way they're done with the minimal piece count that they use, so that's really cool. Now, for my fantasy-themed set, I chose the Wizard Tower, that second one with the green roof. I don't know how well I like that set. I probably wouldn't actually purchase one of them, either one of them. I'm throwing that in there for the fantasy set because I know a lot of people like it, and it's coming in right around 1,900 pieces, 2,000 pieces, which is kind of what we need to do to get our average. So I really like this loadout here. I really like these 5 sets. I really want Training Ground. I really want Fort Huck. I really like that Sailing for the Light set just because of the ship and the little house build with the light tower could fit in with my Pirates display really good. Those 3 sets, incredibly good. The other ones, they're very well done as well. I just don't know if I would actually get them. But if you add up all these piece counts that I chose, you're getting to around 2,600 pieces, which is what we need to do to get to the 2,500 piece count, roughly, to get a series passed. So I believe that this series will probably have a couple of these sets in it. That's what I think is going to happen. I think they're the fan favorites. I know that Joust set, I know the Brickhammer's Kraken set is very high up on the list for a lot of people. Let me know what your top 5 are in the comments below. I don't know. Maybe if someone guesses the top 5, all 5 correct, I'll like send you like, I don't know, $5 Lego gift card or something. We'll do that. If you've made it this long in the video, like an hour and a half, and you guess in the comments all 5 of the sets that come out in Series 10, I think they're finally announced like in March sometime, what they are, I'll send you a $5 gift card for Lego. So that's pretty cool for us who stuck around to the end. Thank you for sticking around. Nice long video. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to get on out of here, and I will see you in the next video.